This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
Hello there, and welcome to another episode of KJ Arcade. My name's Jay.
Are you the great today?
Meh.
Jay is not feeling great today, and I'm the K, and that is
That's him. So,
I'm Kevin. Okay.
on this episode of the arcade, Kevin talked about Chrono Trigger last week. This week, I am talking about the awesome series known as Devil May Cry.
Oh yeah. That's
Now,
right up your alley.
Yeah. Why would I talk about Devil May Cry? Because the anime is coming up in April on Netflix.
Oh, we got to watch that.
This is the second anime they've done for this series. The other one did not even feature Dante ever using his devil powers. He just shot and he used the sword. That's it.
What's the point?
Exactly. If you're not capturing the entirety of the series and what it means, you're not doing it justice. They did not do it justice. So,
Yeah.
Funny enough, this game was actually made initially as a Resident Evil game. That was the initial construct. They wanted to make, and the creator Hideki Kamiya was like, he wanted to focus more on action, and they were like, yeah, we don't want to change the series up. So then he redeveloped it into Devil May Cry.
Okay, I can see the definitely how it has a Resident Evil feel to it.
Yeah, it's very dark. There's a lot of puzzle solving in the first game versus the other games where it's really more action paced. But you still have puzzles here and there throughout the other games, but they're just not as prevalent as the first one. So it's an action adventure hack and slash developed by Capcom back in 2001, and apparently still continued to present. I think the last game came out in 2019. That was Devil May Cry 5. Then there was a reboot of the series by Ninja Theory back in 2013, but it did not do as well as the main series.
Honestly, I like that one.
I thought it was a good one.
I thought it was fun.
It was a slightly different story, different way of play, and I think making Dante and Virgil angel and demon was more fun than having them just be more demonic.
Yeah. Like Devil May Cry was one of those games that I knew about and I knew the story, but I couldn't really get into it. I tried a few, like the different versions, and I just could never get into it. But that reboot, for some, like the way the gameplay was in that one, I beat it. Like I enjoyed that one.
I think the problem that some people would probably have is that technically Devil May Cry 3 is where the story starts versus the first game. You're kind of thrust into it. You know that Dante had a falling out with his brother like a year ago. You know that him and his brother are demon, half human. Each one of them got a sword from their dad, who was a demon knight, who sealed away Mundus, the evil demon king at the time. And they both have a necklace. One from mother, one from father. So
their parents really are like, everybody gets one. Everybody gets one.
I mean, they wanted to split their stuff down the middle and give it to their kids. So they had something of them. So I was like, all right. I mean, it's like a wholesome family, but demons ain't gonna let people just leave demonic ranks, much like the mafia. And what happens? Motherfuckers come back for revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So Dante ends up on this island, and he's tracking down remnants of Mundus. And everywhere you go, it's fighting demons, opening up new areas, getting new weapons, powering up Dante, fighting big bosses. Then apparently you find out that this demon knight that's been fucking with you the whole time on this island, Nalo Angelo, is Virgil the whole time. Again, which If you haven't played the game, I'm sorry, but again, this came out in 2001.
It's-
If you haven't played this game by now, you're fucking
yeah,
up, fucking up.
step it up. Step it up.
So that's what I say. So again, in Devil May Cry 3, you find out how Virgil ended up becoming Nilo Angelo, and it's because of this whole tower that appeared in the middle of the city ages ago. Young Dante's fighting the demons again, but then he's got this girl named Lady who has petrochromia, so one eye is one color, the other eye is another color, but she has a huge arsenal of weapons. So she's got like machine guns, a freaking missile launcher with like grenade with a grenade launcher on it too. I'm like, there's lots. It's so many weapons. They pick up so many weapons along the way. Dante usually gets like gauntlets and awesome boots. He's got a guitar that turns into a scythe in one game. Agni and Ruja, which were twin swords, one used fire, one used ice. Like he has a freaking triple beam staff in the third game. It's so many things, and I just love this series because it is simple enough, but then hard has a hardness to it. Because even though you can hack and slash your way through a whole crowd of motherfuckers, you're trying to focus on one thing. Somebody can come up from behind you. It's not like Batman Arkham Knight where you can stop your combo and then be like, all right, bap, bap, get back into the
Yeah.
combo. No, no, no. Once they end your combo streak, you got to build that shit right back up. And that stylishness adds points to you. So you can start at a D, get up to C, get up to B, get up to A, get up to S, double S, triple S.
Oh,
It's so fun, especially if you have a triple S and you can hold that shit until the end of the combat. Oh, points, boy, the points. So delicious, delectable.
makes me think of like Beautiful Joe.
Uh, Honestly, yeah. And even though that one was kind of like childish, and again by Capcom,
Yeah.
which had an animated series as well. Exactly.
Did Beautiful Joe have an animated series? Really?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Man, I didn't even know that.
Mhm.
I just remember playing it for a little bit and I'm like, this is crazy.
I mean, it's a fun game. It's comic booky, but Devil May Cry, it's raunchy humor, ironic humor. It deals with family stuff. It deals with just great action sequences. The uh, cutscenes are always beautifully animated. Um, Later in the series, I think around Devil May Cry 4, they introduce another character named Nero, who you find out in Devil May Cry 5 is the son of Virgil. So he was able to use the Yamato. He was able to use, well, his arm was actually like a demonic arm. He would just had wrapped up in a cast and was just like, yeah, nothing going on here, but he would use it and it'd be like I guess you could say like a double grab where he like project and like reach out further. It was a weird mechanic. It was a weird mechanic only for him. So like you have your basic sword skills, gun skills you can use with Dante. When you could play as Virgil in Devil May Cry 3, you had sword skills, but then like teleporting capabilities with Virgil. With Lady, it was all nothing but guns and blowing shit up. Now, I think as a bonus in the first game, you could play as Trish, and she used Sparta, which was Sparta sword.
I mean,
And she had electric capabilities, I think, as well. But yeah, you can earn a lot of stuff in those games. Like
you said there's a new one coming out though?
right now I haven't. I know the anime is coming out on Netflix. Um, there have been novelizations. I think I've read at least one. As far as games, I haven't heard anything since Devil May Cry 5, which
Okay.
again came out in 2019. Uh, but you were saying that the one that was called DMC by Ninja Theory was your favorite iteration of this game.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, after I didn't really get into the first one, I never really touched the rest of them. But the Devil May Cry DMC, I can't remember why I got into it, but I started playing that one, and I really liked the gameplay and stuff with that. And like I thought, the very first when you first start playing it, in the trailer he lives in blows up,
Oh yeah.
and then he's like, they do the slow motion flying through the air, and he's putting his clothes on as he's flying through the air. I was like, this is so fucking ridiculous. But it's funny as shit. Like, how's she going?
That's basically how it seems to heavily rely on those sequences of there's no fucking way regular people can do this, and you're like, that's because they're not regular people.
It was so over dramatic, but I was like, all right, I'm here for it. Like, that's just funny.
Yeah, Devil May Cry 3, one of the weapons, like I said, he picks up is a guitar, but it's formed from a vampire. And it was so. How can I?
That's so 90s.
But it was so crazy because they were like, it was flirtatious the entire fight. Like the cutscene prior to,
Yeah.
then the cutscene after the big boss fight with her, and her name was Nevin. And then as he's holding her in her arms and she changes into this guitar, it's like, there could have been something that was going on. But then he starts playing the guitar, and then it turns into a scythe. He spins it around and stuff. But it's like he ends it like a actual guitarist. Like he hits the slide on his knees, hits the power chord, and you see him drop off the screen. It is so early 2000s, late 90s. It's ridiculous.
There are some things you see and you're like, yeah, that's an era.
Oh yeah. The era of aura, as they say. Era of aura.
That was an era.
So much drinks. There was so much drinks.
Oh god. Oh my god. But Devil May Cry was a super cool concept, though. I remember trying to keep those fucking combos up. That was like knock him in the air with the sword, and then pow, 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 pow. Like,
oh yeah. If you could get him into the air, hit him with the bullets a few times, jump up, hit another combo, slam down, come back down with the sword, go double trigger, pick that motherfucker back up, do the same thing over again, extra hard. Oh yeah. It was so pretty. So fucking pretty.
And it was like nailing those combos was so satisfying.
Oh gosh, yeah.
When he's like, oh yeah, that's it, baby. That's it.
And they did the same thing with DMC. I mean, they had that combo system in there. They basically did almost a play for play when it came to the game style. I think the only thing they really changed were like the designs of the characters, how the devil trigger worked in a certain way, and how it was like an altered reality when you were fighting demons. Sometimes I think mostly the bosses, like you would be in the human world, there would be like a spot, and it would then change over into the demon world because it was kind of like shifting underneath human sight.
Yeah. But I mean, I liked. I thought it was fun, play on itself. But there are some Capcom games, man. Like I feel like they're very hit or miss, I guess. But I always feel like I can tell a Capcom game when I've played it for like an hour or two. Like I'm like, oh, this is Capcom for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Even if you didn't see the opening sequence, like, oh yeah, this very much feels like a Capcom game. Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, Mega Man, obviously Marvel vs. Capcom.
I mean,
which is another great series. But
yeah.
it's just fighting, just fighting games. But
I mean, the newer Resident Evils are pretty cool, though. I like the.
I like that they shifted the story a little bit.
Yeah, they shifted the story and they made it first person as opposed to the older style.
I mean, I'm fine with it in Fortnite for some reason, but like in playing it in Resident Evil, I always felt it was just I need to be able to see the zombie's head from my perspective so I can get the headshot. Seeing it like this, I can't get the headshot. It's so hard.
Behind the head worked because I think one of my favorites is Resident Evil 4 when you were Leon and he was going to save the president's daughter on the island.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's when they first started doing the bugs. And like you shoot off their head and it doesn't kill them. And like their body busts out and there's just a giant centipede walking on legs now. And you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Worse things. So much worse.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, some of the bosses in Devil May Cry were kind of like that in the first few games. Like the giant spider that also had lava in it that was chasing you around. Oh yeah, the first game. Yeah, the first game. Then it was like the Shadow Panther. When I say Shadow Panther, I mean it looked like it was a panther, but at the same time it could like be a shadow on the ground, then it could shift form into like a friggin' orb and like fire lasers out of it. It was a lot. It was a lot.
I mean, those type of games back in the day were strictly focused on getting from point A to point B, and then you get the boss, and then you get from point A to point B, and then you get the boss, and like it was always like
solve the puzzle between get new weapon so that you can fight the next boss. Fight next boss with new weapons and also upgrade character. Oh, now you've unlocked the devil trigger. Guess what you can do now? You can turn into a devil and have extra strength and capabilities. But now you have to upgrade that so you can have more time in devil trigger form and more health. Ah, yes, makes perfect sense.
But of course.
But they have cures.
But of course.
So Kevin,
so
where can they find us?
Oh, they can find us at kjandapodcast@gmail.com, and they can find us on the Twitter X and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, all under the KJNA Podcast. And they can go to buymeacoffee.com/KJNA Podcast to help a podcast in need, or they can get some of our extra content on patreon.com/KJNA Podcast. Because that is, you get more content from us, and we're adding more. We're going to do the Smash and Pass.
Yeah.
For Pokemans because it's funny. It's super duper funny. It's going to be mostly video, of course, because you can't see things on a podcast.
Yeah.
And we're also part of the Unfiltered Studios and the Pod Nation Network.
There you go. You're getting it.
Yeah, I did it. But there was a lot of other things, and then of course, because we're doing the arcades for GameCore, which is all about helping veterans, and we're all about the charity work and helping and doing a good thing. So check out their Discord. If we'll probably have links all over our socials and such. And that's it, right? The next one?
858-848-5562.
I always miss one. Fuck. I always miss one.
That's why we work together.
Yeah, that's it. But thank you so much for listening. We love you.
Good night, folks.
Bye.